Today we're talking about how to turn your reality around where you realize you've taken your eye off the ball, things are kind of starting to head south, and you know, I got to do something here. So I want to share with you what it is that I do when I realize that I've just dropped the ball a bit and my reality is starting to turn in the opposite direction to the direction I want it to go. And I'm going to show you some graphs, my business graphs, that actually prove what I'm talking about and actually show you how things get a little out of control and then back on track. If you have found your way to my channel, well done, you are in the right place. My name is Hedley and I am a law of assumption coach. So if you would like any assistance with rewriting, reimagining, recreating your reality, I am available for one-to-one law of assumption coaching. I also have my self-concept course because it all does start with self-concept, just a little bit of a hair there. And I have my book, I Am Money, Assume a New Story and Enjoy More Money. You'll find all of those details in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. And if I could ask you for one very small favor, if you are enjoying my channel and you're enjoying these videos, please do press that subscribe button and give this video a like and a positive comment. That would be most appreciated. And before I get into today's video, I also want to let you know that I am in the process of really redeveloping, transforming my relationship with Instagram. I've had a lot of resistance towards Instagram and I've had two accounts, one private, one personal, haven't been doing anything with either of them. And it's felt like a bit of a split within myself. So I've moved everything over to my personal Instagram account where I'm sharing more about myself and how I'm using law of assumption in my own life and kind of just the background stuff, how I make the videos, how I use I am in my life, what my life looks like behind these videos. So I would love for you to head over to Instagram and follow me at Hedley Derenzie. So I hope you join me over there as well. Okay, today we're doing another personal video because I have some graphs that I want to show you that reflect my consciousness and what happens in it when things are going well and then also when things are not going well, because my business is so much a reflection of my consciousness. I can actually have something happen in my reality and then I can go to system, my platform, my online system, and I will see a direct correlation with my business that represents what's going on in my consciousness. And what it also shows you is how I turn things around. So I want to show you a couple of different graphs when things are going well and also when things are not going well and exactly what I'm doing to turn things around. Let's go back to the foundational principle, which is consciousness is the one and only reality. It's the one and only reality. Consciousness is the one and only reality. And that is very much my experience in my reality. When things are going really well, I will see it reflected back in my business. And when things are not going well in my reality, I will also see that reflected back in my business. And in the past, I would have freaked out at those moments where things kind of look like they're getting off track. And I would have then jumped into reality and started paddling madly in order to get things to turn around. That is not what happens these days. What happens these days is when I realize that things have gotten off track, I stop what I'm doing in reality and I turn within and I crank up my practices. And I'll go into a bit more specific details with what I do to turn them around. And you will see very clearly on the graph how I do turn them around, but I do not turn them around by going out in reality and doing more. So this is a graph of my business activity. You will see that there's up and down and up and down. If you haven't checked out my video, The Heartbeat of Manifesting, I would really encourage you to go and have a look at that, because what that does is it explains the incoming and outgoing of activity in reality. You are going to see a heartbeat with everything that is happening in your reality. So with my business, there's an incoming and an outgoing. There's a breathing, there's an inhaling and an exhaling. When things are going well, that is the time where we tend to take our foot off the pedal. We tend to stop focusing on the internal work because reality is going really well, everything's happening, and we just get perhaps a little bit lazy. And that's what happened for me here, is that things were just tracking along really well. Everything was just going great. And what I realized, oh, hang on a second, I'm not putting in the same commitment and the same work with my internal practices that I usually do. And what happens there is I can start to fall into a little bit of fear and a little bit of lack. But one of the reasons why I wrote my book, I Am Money, is because in the past, that story of lack would have just continued on, and I would have fallen into a little bit of a negative spiral thinking, oh my God, what's happening? Everything's turning to shit. Nothing's working, blah, blah, blah. So one of the reasons I wrote that book was to rewrite that story of lack in my reality that I had lived with for a very long time. So when that happens now, what that does is it sets off an alarm within myself that I've taken my eye off the ball. I'm not as committed to my internal practices because I'm out and about having a great time, just things are going well, money's flowing in. It's like, oh, things are great. I can just relax. And as soon as that happens, that is when things start to kind of turn south a little. And I realize, oh, that's not happening to me. That's because I have slipped out of the state of abundance and I've fallen into a little bit of lack because I'm not investing in myself in the way that I usually do. So where that dot is, you can see is where I have that realization that I need to switch things back on and I need to crank up my I amness. I need to crank up the stories. I need to crank up my imaginings. And then there's a little jump and then there's a massive jump. Now that massive jump is a reflection of how I turn things up within myself. And I just love this graph so much because I am not doing anything more in reality. What I am doing is doing everything in consciousness. I am reminding myself that I am the infinite abundance. I'm infinitely safe. I am the infinite provider. And I am enough. I have enough. I'm the infinite enoughness. And I crank that up. I turn the volume up. I turn the intensity up. And as you can see, it gets reflected back in my reality where my business then turns around and everything just cranks right back up. So I wanted to show you this because what happens is when we fall into that little bit of lack, we can tend to get scared and we jump out into reality and we think we have to do more in reality. But when you do more in reality, what you're actually doing is affirming that you don't have it. Now, this is a very human experience. We are all going to have times where we take our foot off the pedal, we drop the ball a little bit, we get a bit lazy, we might relax a bit, and our reality will take a little bit of a turn. That is not a cause to freak out. That's a cause to turn your attention back in on self, reconnect with I am, reconnect with your self-concept, and crank it up. Turn the volume up, turn the intensity up. Feel it. Allow those feelings to rise up through your body and really feel into that state of abundance and that state of safety, knowing I am the infinite abundance and I am safe within myself because I know that I'm the infinite provider. And as soon as I turn my attention to that, I know that my reality is going to catch up and reflect that back, which it does. It's right there on the graph. Now, I also want to bring your attention to another graph where I had a falling out with a family member and it really shook my confidence and it really took me down. I was not having an easy time with it. And as you can see here, this got reflected back in business activity where I could feel things descending. So what's happening within me is being reflected back in my business. Now, it got to the point where I realized, holy shit, I need to do something to turn this around. I did not go out into reality and do anything in reality. What I did is I turned within, I went within, and I just cranked up my self-concept and to choose I am lovable, I am wanted, I am worthy, I am the infinite I am of my reality, I am infinite worth, I am infinite love, I am infinite safety, I am infinite abundance, I am infinite in every way, I am the one. And I was able to turn things around. As you could see, there was a massive spike back up. So when you are having times where it feels like everything is just too hard, it's too much, you can't do it, and this isn't working, I want you to remember this because it is working. It's always working, even when it feels like it's not. It's not always going to be love and light. There are going to be difficult times. There's no way I would have been able to go through what I'm currently going through without this work. And that is why I'm now ready to face these stories and awaken from them, is because because of my commitment to this work and to myself. So the more you do this, the more is going to come up to the surface. Some of those stories are not going to be pleasant. Some of those stories are not going to feel good. They need to come up so that you can step into a greater version of yourself. And when you do come upon those moments where reality does appear like it's heading in the opposite direction, trust that that is what needs to happen in order for you to clear it, and give yourself lots of time and space to rest and nurture yourself and nourish yourself in the best way, whatever way works for you. For me, I've been doing a lot of grounding to the earth. I've been doing a lot of sleeping. I've allowing myself to sleep, and I've just been connecting with nature, because all of that feels very nourishing. Remember who you are. You are the infinite I am. You are infinitely safe. You are infinitely provided for. You are infinitely enough. You are infinitely taken care of, because there is only I am. I am is the infinite provider. And when you are fixed in I am, your reality can reflect back that abundance, that taking care of, that support, that nourishment. There are going to be difficult times. There are going to be challenging times. And that is not the time to stop doing this work. That is not the time to just turn around and forget who you are and just fall into a heap. And of course, if you do, that's okay too. And then when you remember, come back to I am. Because when you come back to I am, you will come back to the infinite nature of who you are, and it'll feel better. You'll start to feel better, and you'll start to see that glimmer of hope, that light at the end of the tunnel, which says, hang on a second, while this might feel like complete shit, I can actually see that this could be for my highest good. I don't really know how at this point. I can't really see it clearly, but I'm getting the sense that actually, without this story, without this narrative running, I could be a version of myself that I haven't even comprehended yet. And that's what all of this work is helping you to do, is to awaken to your infinite potential, which is the infinite I am, from which everything arises, where you can be, do, and have absolutely anything. So stay with it, stay with yourself. And when you feel yourself just losing your grip on things, turn in on yourself, turn away from reality. I promise you, the answers that you think you're looking for are not out there. They are in here, and they begin with I am. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for being you. Please leave your like and positive comments, and have a wonderful week. If you haven't already, please do check out that video, The Heartbeat of Manifesting, which will just go into a bit more of that incoming and outgoing, that rhythm of reality that is within everything we are experiencing in our reality. So go and check that out. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.